welcome to the show, Akhilesh.
Hi Abhinav, bhai. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What about you?
Yes, just chilling, enjoying.
So let's just introduce yourselves to our viewers.
Sure, Abhinav. So, like you all know, my name is Akhilesh Pendkande. I've done my MBA from IIM Kozhikode. Prior to that, I did my graduation from Savitribai Phule Pune University in computer engineering. About 3 years of work ex and currently working in sales. Yeah, so I would say that is all about myself professionally.
So, what kind of work experience do you have?
Sure. So essentially, I've worked in two different industries. One was agrotech or majorly agribusiness, and second one was in the education technology. So essentially, mentoring as well as onboarding new students, new clients, stuff like that.
So, what kind of students were you mentoring?
Essentially वही कैट का प्रिपेयर कर रहे थे और कैट वालों को ही पढ़ा रहे थे. तो life was easy back then, I'll say, because when you are working in the same industry in which you essentially want to go in future, so it becomes slightly easy, I'll say, because you will speak whatever you are feeling at that point of time. You don't sugarcoat things. uh, so whatever my understanding was with respect to the colleges, with respect to the courses, with respect to the entrance exam, stuff like that. So मेरा और स्टूडेंट का डायरेक्ट कनेक्ट उन चीजों पे होता था for I think I did it for almost 2 years, and I think that was the most learnable part of my life, because इतने लोगों के साथ जब बात करते हो, they come from all the walks of life. So essentially, a few of them were from IIT. Many of them were from NITs, because in Nagpur there is a VNIT as well. A lot from arts and commerce background. So yeah, all in all, काफी growth, काफी development वाला phase था for me.
So, basically, you joined this education industry because you wanted to give CAT, or after you joined this education industry, then you plan to give CAT. So, how was it?
So अगर plain and simple terms में आंसर दे तो because I wanted to get into MBA, I felt कि career align करना चाहिए with the same industry, and henceforth I started teaching in a particular institute, right? तो वो था, but when you look back, you feel that it is very simple, right? But when you're actually planning, when you're thinking of the next 6 months or next 2 years or next 1 year, at that point of time, it was not as easy as it seems. Because essentially, after my graduation, I got a offer from Accenture as a software developer in Pune. Because और कहाँ लेके जाएंगे? So majority of the people go there, and I was also given an offer to join the company. Uh, Joining was in November, so somewhere between October and November. So after graduation, I had like 4 months. So मैं सोचा यार, should I join? Because the pay scale is not that much, like a basic salary that they give of 3.54 lakhs. So that is not sustainable to live in a very populated place with big brands around, with big outlets around you, wherein you can go and spend a lot of money. So I just took a, I won't say calculated bet. It was a blunder according to my parents at that point of time, that I won't join Accenture. I will look at the business side, actual में administration side of the businesses basically. And I thought कि there might be opportunities in my hometown Nagpur, and through that I got into agribusiness. So I did that for initial 2 3 months, and I realized कि यार this is interesting. इसमें कुछ करना है आगे जाके, राइट? सो दैट वाज बिजनेस पार्ट ऑफ इट. और उतने में कैट के फॉर्म्स फ्लोट होते हैं, या आई थिंक अराउंड अगस्त सितंबर. August is usually, I think, the last date, 15th, 20th August. And at that point of time, it just clicked. Okay, this is something that you should do. Till that point, I didn't know any other college apart from IIM Ahmedabad, right? तो एक IIM होता है जिसका नाम IIM Ahmedabad है, and a lot of people are graduating from that college and they get good package. इतना पता था, but apart from that, MBA के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा I didn't had info. So yeah, at that point of time, I just started thinking what can be done, what is the best way to get a good career opportunity, और वही एक्सप्लोर करते करते थोड़ा बहुत सीखते हो. तो मेरा भी जर्नी वैसा ही था.
पैसा किस में ज्यादा मिलेगा obviously after MBA there would be a lot of
हाँ तो genuinely तो first goal वही था कि यार हाँ if I join let's say according to a certain ranking 48th to 50th college so maybe I'll get an average salary of 12 but if I join 20th to 40th ranked college then I might get 16 तो मेरे को 12 से 16 जाने में 2 साल लगेगा और एक टायर ऊपर वाले कॉलेज में जाने में 1 साल लगेगा तो ये सब कैलकुलेशन तो सभी करते हैं तो, और लेट्स से most of the people will do it. I don't want to claim for everyone. So I was also like that, yeah, because if I was getting 3.54 in Accenture, I was getting below 2 or around 2 in the agri-tech firm, right? And then I joined this education industry wherein I was getting slightly more than that. And that is not something that you aim for, right? और मेरा थोड़ा सा ambitious वाले goals ज्यादा थे that I wanted a better lifestyle and stuff like that. And most of the people who aim for MBA is like are like that, right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
essentially,
Like mostly low, like most of the people who do MBA, it's for the better packages. So rather than anything
exactly.
else, whatever you say in the interview, why MBA? But the main reason is like it's about the money only. So how you gonna achieve it via MBA? That is something different. Okay. So but the main reason behind doing MBA is for most of the people, I would say 99% of the people, it's better packages and a lot of money.
Yeah, everyone thinks of their betterment first and then think of the society, right?
Yeah, and
Most
it's
of the humans
and
would.
actually it's not wrong. So like if you are doing MBA for this thing, it's actually not wrong. It's right if you are doing it in a legal way and uh, ठीक तरीके से कर रहे हो, then everyone is कि if you want to earn more money, it's actually a good thing.
Exactly. And again, it shows that you are actually interested in terms of doing something, right? Apart from just sitting on the sidelines and venting about someone asking you to work more or you don't want to work or stuff like that. This is, I think, one of those ways that you can actually go and experiment, and there is a short outcome that will come out of it. It is not too risky, like many people claim, and yeah, it is. I think for most of the people satisfying. Of course, if you join a company just for let's say 10-15% extra package, but you don't like the work, so फिर तो you blame yourself. You don't
Yeah,
blame anyone else.
exactly. Like if you're joining an old IIM, so old IIMs or new IIMs for that per se. So it's the safest way to increase your salary and increase your package. So I guess it's the best way to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah. So like, what all interviews shortlist did you have?
So I had IIM Lucknow, which was I think the best shortlist apart from FMS, Code, and all the other colleges below that in terms of general rankings, right? I didn't had ABC and XLRI didn't give the paper because I knew कि CAT में अच्छा आ चुका है तो I don't need to hustle now for the other exam. It is better to prepare on the interviews, right? So that was my mentality because this was the third time that I was giving CAT, and every time I cracked one or the other colleges, and like each year it was a progressive growth. And essentially, aim was also that this year if I'm giving it for the third time, I want to be in the old lines. Otherwise, it won't make sense for me, right? NITI was again one of the colleges which I was able to crack through because of good percentile in CAT. So yeah, that was that.
Yeah, like DT and I'm Code and even Indore, they both like these all colleges are lie in the same category
Say
basically.
yeah, almost the
Like,
same bracket. I
yeah.
would say it would just depend on if you are focused on a certain domain, let's say operations, then NEET is definitely better than KOI Code and Indore. And if you're focusing on strategy and finance role, maybe KOI Code would provide you slightly better opportunity than the rest, but more or less it is the same. I don't think that there's a huge difference.
Earlier, Code and Indore had like this privilege of uh, IM tag, but now NEET has turned into IIM Mumbai. So then all these three colleges are at par, I guess.
Yeah, so actually, my opinion is slightly controversial. I do feel that NEET as a college is really good. If you call it NEET, if you call it IIM Mumbai, I think alumni might feel uh, bad if I'm calling it NEET. They would prefer IIM Mumbai, but I think that college had a very unique identity, established in 1960, if I'm not wrong, and World Labor Organization was also involved in its establishment, and the kind of legacy and the kind of alums that they have developed over the years is commendable, right? And if you bring it under IIM Act now, the question again comes out to be: Are you going to generalize it in terms of a college, or you're going to keep it special in terms of the specialization that the college offers, right? So I have that question in my mind, and I want to see how it progresses in the next 5 6 years. But definitely, if IIM Mumbai stays there and the way it is operating right now, it is maybe amongst the top 10 colleges easily in India. And
The
yeah,
thing
Kozhikode and Indore has always been there. So
the thing is like changing the name from Niti to I am Mumbai, like the brand factor, it might affect the normal people. But what I have felt is like the people who are from Niti in our companies, the packages which we are getting and they are getting are the same. So it's no difference when it comes to the corporate. So corporate knows, the companies know. So which all colleges are at the same level in the same bracket. So for the like normal students who felt like NEET was not at par with Kozhikode or Indore, so for them it's like a better thing. So that
it,
NEET got converted
yeah,
into Mumbai.
exactly. And one thing which struck me when I was talking with few of my senior friends, or let's say alums, or 3 4 years more experienced individuals, they always have this complaint that if they are from FMS, for example, or JBIMS, or for that matter, NEET, they know that their college is good. Their college is known in India. But once they go abroad, at that point of time, the IM tag actually comes into the picture. So it might happen that a person from a newer IM or a baby IM might get more value in the
Okay,
company
okay,
because
okay.
the person is from IM, and
Okay.
NEET and FMS and JBIMS might suffer. So that is one, I think, side of it. But again, after 7 8 10 years of work, it's in a corporate, your college doesn't define you, right? It is you, your work, how you're dealing people, how you're working in the project, that only matters. So that is just an anecdote that I was able to recollect, so I thought I'll share.
Okay, okay, okay. So basically, you are trying to say that when it comes to the Indian companies and working for the Indian companies or within India, then this IM tag won't have that value. Like it would have some value, okay, but the companies know which colleges lie in which bracket, and even if it's non-IM, if it lies in the same bracket with IMs, so the packages and the salaries would be same. But if you go abroad, then IM tag would definitely have an advantage over non-IM tags.
Yeah, so I would say in terms of your reputation, not in terms of your salary per se, because essentially you are going to get a promotion, or going to get a hike on the basis of your previous tag, right? And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
a company
exactly.
is directly hiring from campus, then essentially the salary would be at par with the IMs. So for example, MDI Gurgaon is also there, a private
Yeah, yeah,
institute, which is
exactly.
also a great institute, right? SPJN is also there. So these institutes, they do have value, everyone knows them, but at times, so a person from Europe might not know what SPGen is, but because of the IM brand that Indian government also promotes, everyone is like already aware of what these institutes are. So essentially, only that. I don't think so. Apart from that, it is much of a consequence.
Okay, okay. So how was your summer internship experience?
Summer internship experience. So I was asked by the company where I interned, define your summer internship experience in one word. And as I am able to recollect, I wrote, it was a prologue to my corporate journey. And then someone texted me from the HR team and asked me, why do you say it's a prologue? Because that was a neutral word that only one student or only one intern gave. Most of the people were giving a very positive, optimistic word, and most of the words were repeating. Mine was different, and they wanted to understand why. So I said that when you say prologue, so essentially it is with respect to, let's say, if you're writing something, and it can encompass good experiences, it can encompass bad experiences, and a accumulation of both, right? And I said that I was able to learn that even if you are there in a company for 2 months, you can experience both the things. Right? And that was something that I feel was the takeaway from my internship as well. That in terms of learning, it was fabulous because I was given a project, I was given responsibility with respect to live business problem, wherein I was asked to resolve it and also give recommendations in terms of how we can improve the functionality of the organization in the next 2.5, 3 years. And company already had plans, and they just wanted an external suggestion in terms of whether they should go ahead with that or whether they should make some tweaks and turns because most of the individuals are senior, above 50, and they have their own way of thinking. And then they want someone on board who is from the same, let's say, pedigree of college, but at the same point of time, who has slightly different ideas, fresher mind, more creative, to see if they can twist and turn something and make it slightly better, make it slightly more efficient. So that was that. Apart from that, I'll say the support experience was not very good. So the learning experience was very positive. The support experience was very negative. And all in all, it was, I would say, uh, something that you would have a lot of takeaways with, right? How to deal with people, how to take your project responsibilities, how not to, let's say, just bombard one side of experience on the other side, because the team with which you are working, they don't have any responsibility if anything is going wrong. But the individual who is responsible, you make sure that that person also knows that there are some things that they could have done better. So yeah, I think learning wise to काफी fantastic था वो.
So, like, I know in which company you intern. So, would you like to tell our viewers also, or we can skip it?
No, no, I think they would get to know if they search about it, but I don't think so. We should take names. It is better not to.
So basically, like your role was into general management. So like if someone wants to
Correct.
yeah get into a general management role, so what kind of interview process these companies conduct? So if you can share
Sure.
that experience with our viewers.
So yeah, I think general management, for that matter, has a very different process compared to most of the other companies. Reason being that they're not looking for people who are explicitly better in one specific domain, but they're looking more for an all-rounded person, right? And at times it might happen that they might select you even without a lot of polished skills, but they might just select you on the basis of your personality, because they are looking for individuals who are going to stay in the company for the next 10, 15, 20 years, or possibly till the end of their career. So if they join as an empty in a company, the company aims to keep that person in the company till they retire at 60, 65, whatever the age is, right? So the evaluation parameters are also like that, right? So maybe the focus is more in terms of how you are as a person, what are the individual characteristics you have. So they don't want a person who would say that I am a leader and I'll always lead the team. They want a person who says, okay, let me analyze these five individuals and let me see if any one of them is better than me. If any one of them is better than me, then I would stay behind. I would let that person take charge because that person is specialized in that particular domain, and let that person lead. Whereas I would play as a second fiddle. I'll take the back seat. And whenever that person needs my help, I'll be there with him or I'll be there with her, right? And at the same point of time, they also need individuals who have a good understanding of short-term tactics that the company is playing out to gain competitive advantage. But at the same point of time, they also need individuals who have a long-term vision. So it shouldn't be that a company has a strategic vision to be at a specific place or in a specific position in an industry in 15 years. but the short-term strategies are kind of pushing it away from that long-term goal, right? So they need a person who understands these things and have can balance it out, right? So in interview as well, when they ask you questions, the questions are not very technical. The questions are more related to your personality. They'll give you situations and they'll ask you what will you do in this kind of a situation. For example, ethical cases. For example, ethical plus business problems. So you have to deal the ethical side of it. At the same point of time, you have to make sure that the company is also profitable or it doesn't go in losses. So you cannot be pure calculative. You cannot be pure subjective as well towards your relation. So you have to maintain that subjectivity and objectivity together to arrive at a meaningful output, right? And in between these processes, so there is of course a form filling wherein they'll test how much you know about your own personality and how much you know about, let's say, the domain, the industry in which the company is overall operating. But at the same point of time, what are your views about specific situations if the company wants to ask? And after that, they would take, let's say, other processes like GDs, like gamification rounds, which is more or less common, and they'll have a slightly different interview process, right? That we already discussed. So it is more focused on your personality. You might have more HR questions compared to, let's say, more business problems. So overall, that would be it.
So like the GD part, what I have heard is like the GD is not the normal GD. So it's a different kind of GD. So
Correct.
can you just share
Sure, sure.
details about it?
So essentially, when we talk about TAF as a company, so they'll have a chairperson GD, chairman GD, or they call it chairperson now because of obvious reasons. In that GD, if you have, let's say, 7 people, then it won't be one GD only. It will be a combination of 7 GDs, right? Each of the person would be given a responsibility of being the chairperson once, and the other 6 people will have a discussion. So this cycle continues for 7 times, and on the basis of those 7 GDs, 7 discussions, which we cumulatively call a chairperson GD, then the panel decides which person to select, which person not to select. The selection ratio usually in these kind of GDs is only one out of whatever the panel number is. So, for example, there are 7 people, hardly they'll take one person. And if you are very lucky and your panel is really good, then they might take 2 people. But usually the selection issue is like that. And the problem, like in general GD, it is not purely one domain specific. Like we discussed about interviews, it is more or less similar. So you will have few cases of marketing, you might have few cases of supply chain, you might have few cases of ethical dilemma, and you might have few cases of profitability, right? So these cases are given specifically to understand how a person thinks. Is the person only objective, or is the person only sentimental, that is subjective in terms of his decision making or her decision making? And that, because the GD happens for 7 times, 8 times, 10 times, the panel has, let's say, 1 hour, 1.5 hours to see your behavior. So you might be very calm and composed in the first 2 GDs, but in the next 3 or 4 GDs, if you're not very sure what to speak, you might just lose your temper and you just start speaking anything under the sun, right? And if you're speaking anything under the sun, then at that point of time, the panel knows ki, yeah, this person is bluffing either, or this person doesn't know anything. And in these kind of situations, your true personality comes out, right? So this is usually the selection or the rejection round. After that, most of the time, if you do something wrong, only then you are getting rejected. Otherwise, most of the times you are selected only.
Okay, okay. So what about your final placements? So in which company did you get and which profile
Okay.
are you currently working?
So essentially, I have been lucky in that sense that I most of the time get Genman shortlist only. So in my summers as well as in my finals, it was Genman both the times. And in finals, I got into Reliance. So Reliance has this general management program called Reliance Emerging Leaders. If I'm not wrong, it started in 18, and this was the fifth year. for the program, and I requested the company that I would prefer working into FMCG sector. So I'm working in the in a new arm of Reliance Retail, which is Reliance Consumer Products Limited. Here I am working in the sales domain. Essentially, you have two stints of six months. So I'm doing the first stint towards the end of it, and hopefully I'll do the second stint in Mumbai. So yeah, interesting experience because new company, new program, and because it is a new company, they are experimenting a lot. You get to see new products almost every week. You're part of the trial process, so you will be given the product to test. You'll be given the product to give recommendations to. You can suggest changes, and since I'm working in sales and insights team. So my responsibility is to go in the market if there is specific product which is new, let's say for example, and gaining a lot of traction. Then my responsibility is to get insights on it, not just from Bangalore, but let's say all around Karnataka or at times from Mumbai as a region, from Maharashtra as a region, from Lucknow, UP as a region, right? So yeah, all in all, it's a fun experience to learn a lot. And to essentially observe a lot more than learn because you don't know a lot of things, but people who are senior than you, they have done it for the past 15 years, past 20 years, and they show you the direction. You just have to follow it and at times wander off somewhere so that you can create something of your own.
So basically, you are aligned to sales and marketing vertical.
Correct.
So you got into Genmin and then you were aligned to sales and marketing for your first stint.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but if someone wants to get in sales and marketing from the campus, so I don't think there are many opportunities, especially for the marketing. Because if someone, uh, like if some company takes you for the marketing role, but initially it would be a sales role for, I guess, 1 to 2 years.
Yeah. Obviously, it is like for 2.5 years, almost every company, whether it be Unilever, ITC, Asian Paints, Marico, they'll give you sales stint, and then they make you transit slowly into marketing.
Yeah. So you were the rank one and unstopped case competitions from I'm Koi Code. So, like, how was that experience and what all things you did to crack all those competitions?
So essentially, there's a saying, uh, like cry, but don't give up, right? So I was essentially following that I'll sit, I'll work on the case comps. You'll see the results in the initial case comps. So I was lucky that from the first case comp itself, it just ticked off, and I was cracking 2 or 3 rounds. I was reaching semifinals, national semifinals, or stuff like that. But in the middle, it was a dipping point basically because we were trying a lot of things, and when you try a lot of things, essentially it becomes a mess, right? So we needed some time, me and my team. So essentially, I worked with maybe 10, 12 individuals, different people from I am Koi Code only. And that experience actually helped me because there is always something to learn from one or the other person. And if there is not anything to learn from the person, then maybe you're not looking at the right spot. And there is learning always, right? So if something went wrong, maybe it was not the other person's mistake always. It at times it is yours. So I think I took learnings very seriously. And because I took learnings very seriously, I knew which are the paths on which I don't need to go because I have explored them once. Now the second time I don't want to explore, like for example, giving too many solutions. So if there is only one question, the expectation is only one answer, right? The expectation is not like that you give them seven different solutions without even realizing which is aligning with the company, which is not aligning with the company. So once or twice, I tried that, my team tried that, and once we realized that it is not something that would work, because as a human, if I think a company might have a limited budget, right? to execute one particular plan. If I give them seven ideas, it would be difficult for the company to execute each and every one, and the company would also feel that this team doesn't have that much idea of how I as an entity work, like company as an entity work. So that was, I think, one of the most crucial learnings. And on the basis of that, I tried to build up. On the basis of that, my team tried to build up, and positive things kept happening one after the other. In the second year, especially, first year was slightly mixed, but second year was something where we seriously bloomed, and yeah, eventually we were able to kind of crack a lot of case comps. And thank you for complimenting me. Yeah, we were the rank one for IIM Code in terms of case competitions at corporate events.
So if someone like me who has no idea about the case competitions and I want to start with that, so from where to start?
So basically, the first suggestion would be to keep your head down. If there is a case com coming your way, just fill the form, read the question, and just start making a solution. It is not like I will think first, I will see what happens, I'll see the senior solutions, how have they made it, and then I'll think about my solution. It is never like that, right? Recently, Colgate's transient happened. Uh, about 120 people reached out to me for the presentation essentially that I shared on LinkedIn, and they wanted a copy of it. So it is already available on LinkedIn, right? So if you want a copy, it definitely means that either you want to use the components that I have shared in that, or I have used in that, or you are trying to copy the template. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to share a copy if it is already available in the open source. And I explicitly told almost every one of them that this is not something that is possible. I have already shared it. You can go through it, right? And to my surprise, when many of the people shared the first round submissions, they also shared it with me, asking if there are any changes that you would suggest. And majority of them almost copied the theme, almost copied the segments that I divided. But the issue with this approach is when we made those segments as a team, essentially my problem statement was completely different, right? You have a different problem statement. So if the problem statement is different, the target audience will vary. If the problem statement is different, the product becomes different. The product is not the same. So the theme will also not be the same, right? That is just for your understanding. That is just for your reference, not for your uh, copying, not for let's say just picking up elements and putting it here. So I think it is better always to have your own ideas first, and then just to understand what the structure is, maybe you can refer to someone else, but usually it is the originality of you which helps.
So thank you, Akhilesh, for being with us on this show.
Thank you, Abhinav.